What's happening, gang? It's your boy Retro back again with another reaction video. Yeah. Today we got another huge update. You guys can probably already tell that it is going down. Just by that title alone, you guys are definitely gonna want to check this one out. So we're now seeing Big Tish James, that corrupt attorney general over in the state of New York, in a full panic after Special Prosecutor Ed Martin just revealed new evidence that suggests that Big Tish could be prosecuted and on trial sooner than most would think. Guys, I'm excited to get into this one, so we're gonna hop straight into it. All I ask that you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and without further ado, let's hop straight into it, folks. Check this one out.
Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the director of the DOJ Weaponization Working Group, Ed Martin. He is investigating the weaponization of government, including Adam Schiff, New York Attorney General Letitia James for mortgage fraud. Assess for us the last 10 years in your view, and you have criminal referrals right now. On Adam Schiff, Letitia James, among others. What is the status?
So when Bill Polte sends a criminal referral over to us, and he says Letitia James and Adam Schiff, and by the way, both their lawyers have come out and talked publicly about that criminal referral. So you can talk to them about the specifics, because I'm going to tell you what we're going to do is we're going to follow the facts. Every American has that has a mortgage or has other documents they sign has to follow the law. We're going to go to the very bottom of the facts, and if somebody did something wrong, we're not only going to hold them accountable, we're also going to look at everything else that they've been doing, because when you're a liar, you lie not just on one thing. When you're a cheater, you cheat not just on one thing. When you're doing corruption, you generally don't just do it on one thing. So we have that's our what we're asked to do as prosecutors, and that's what we're doing.
All right, you guys, so that was all the confirmation we need coming from that special prosecutor Ed Martin, confirming that the investigation is well underway into Tish James, Adam Schiff for their mortgage fraud, also confirming the house visit to Tish James's Brooklyn brownstone was a part of that investigation as well. And now we have CNN saying that Ed Martin was totally out of line and he crossed the line when he visited Tish James's property, stating that he could potentially be sullying the jury pool by visiting her property in broad daylight. And by the clip that we've seen, there was not many folks on the street. It was almost empty. It was just Ed Martin, the neighborhood watch, and the person that was recording. But CNN is telling it a whole different story.
New video obtained exclusively by CNN. It shows the director of the DOJ's Weaponization Working Group, Ed Martin, posing for photos outside of New York Attorney General Letitia James's home last week.
Well, you went to Letitia James's home this week. You were in New York.
Yeah, look, I'm a prosecutor, and when I do these cases, I was in New York I was in Newark, actually, New Jersey, for some meetings, and I went over to New York for another meeting, and I went by there. One of the referrals is about that property that she has. Is a very prominent neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I wanted to lay eyes on it. I think most people, if you're prosecuting something, you're careful. I didn't go there and announce it. Some woman came storming up and shooting video and talking to me, but I wanted to see the property, and there's a number of other aspects of these cases where you got to get a sense of what is actually at stake.
Ed Martin was recently put in charge of the investigations into New York Attorney General Letitia James. There's an investigation looking into whether she committed mortgage fraud, and also an investigation that is looking into her civil lawsuit that was brought against Donald Trump, his adult sons, and the company. And you can see here on this video, Ed Martin is there with a colleague from the Department of Justice. He's outside of Letitia James's home, and he does pose for a photograph outside of that home. Now, he was on Fox News on Sunday, and he said that he was there because he had meetings in New York and New Jersey, and that he decided to go by the home. He said you have to lay eyes on it, and also saying that you got to get a sense of what is at stake. But Letitia James's attorney, Albie Lowell, has pushed back. He wrote a letter to Ed Martin yesterday in which he highlighted this unusual visit to Letitia James' home, which they say is an intimidation tactic. He also pointed out that soon after being appointed to be leading this investigation, that Ed Martin called for James's resignation, and then also went on Fox News on Sunday and said that he wanted to look into every aspect of James's life, which some people would call a fishing expedition. So Lowell has said that, were there any doubts as to your political retributive mission? You erased them in your first statements about your appointment when you stated that your assignment is to, quote, stick the landing. A responsible and credible federal prosecutor is not a pommel horse gymnast. Now, I've spoken with other former federal prosecutors who also say that these moves are highly unusual, and it could have real-world implications. If the grand jury were to return an indictment, this could be something that Letitia James' legal teams could use to argue to the judge that the jury pool has been prejudiced and that this was a selective prosecution. Of course, James has been criticized herself for campaigning on saying that she was going to investigate Donald Trump. She does have that court victory in the civil lawsuit where a judge has ordered Trump to pay $500 million. We reached out to the Department of Justice and they declined to comment.
So we're seeing this thing is getting serious. The rubber's finally meeting the road in this whole Tish James case. And now we have Special Prosecutor Ed Martin hinting at taking all of his evidence to a grand jury, which essentially means that he's going to take all the evidence in front of a group of people. They're going to consider the facts and then let him know whether or not he can continue to move forward in the prosecution of Tish James.
Do you have a grand jury in these cases?
Let me say, when you get a criminal referral, one of the tools you have is a grand jury, and I'll leave it to you to infer what I mean. But these referrals are criminal referrals, significant enough that that they would warrant using all the tools, and the tools include subpoenas and witnesses, and that is in our system. That is the system. I'm not like Jack Smith. Jack Smith liked to talk about how he did things and what he did and brag about it. Letitia James did, by the way, as a prosecutor. She liked to come out and hold press conferences. I'll just tell you, when you get a criminal referral, and her own lawyer made the comments publicly, you can infer what you need to.
And based on all of what we're seeing right now, I think it's finally safe to say that Big Tish James is not above the law. She's finally going to be prosecuted and brought to justice in the upcoming months. In my opinion, I think we do see Tish James standing trial, maybe even going to jail. I think based on all the evidence we're seeing, there's definitely going to be an arrest. And in Tish James's case, it's almost open and shut for me, guys. But now I want to do a little bit of a flashback and pop over to my last coverage on this one for a little bit of background for those of you who are not caught up on the latest moves in the whole Tish James saga. In that one, we had Ed Martin visiting Tish James and her Brooklyn brownstone, doing a little investigation with his partner. We also had Sam E. Antar breaking it down how he thinks this thing is going to be an open and shut case. Tish James is definitely going down.
Joining me now to discuss this development as the president celebrates his first 200 days, forensic accountant Sam Antar. Sam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on, rescuing my head out of a spreadsheet.
Okay, yeah, so you were the first one, again, to kind of uncover this whole Tish James drama. I was listening to an interview that she was doing, and she was claiming that you just have a vendetta against her, a personal vendetta, that this was kind of like a clerical error, this house in Norfolk, Virginia, where she said she was going to be a resident. She is a top lawyer of New York State. She's trying to convince us that this was just like kind of a paperwork mistake. What do you think?
Okay, first of all, I don't have a vendetta against her, and even if I did, it doesn't make a difference. She falsified mortgage documents. Case closed. Second of all, the mistake thing, the clerical error, doesn't happen 10 times over 22 years for a Brooklyn property and several times over the last 4 or 5 years for a Virginia properties. These are not clerical errors. These are a pattern of fraud.
That was Sam E. Antar's response to Tish James. And looks like we share a similar perspective when it comes down to the bottom line. Letitia James can claim that this is retribution or revenge coming from another extension of the Trump administration. But the bottom line is she falsified these mortgage documents. There's no way to get around that. I mean, that's the bottom line. Whether these folks are acting out of revenge or trying to seek to get some sort of retribution, either way, she committed a crime, and in her own words, no one is above the law, guys. Also found this article here. We're going to do a slight pivot. I spoke upon the special prosecutors paying Tish James a special visit to her Brooklyn property. This article coming from the New York Post says that the DOJ special attorney Ed Martin checks out Tish James's mortgage fraud home after being tapped for probes. Let's get straight into it, guys. Said the Department of Justice Special Attorney Ed Martin was spotted in Brooklyn Friday inspecting Tish James's multifamily residential property that is at the center of a federal mortgage fraud investigation. Martin, conspicuous in a beige trench coat, visited the Clinton Hill brownstone a week after being appointed by Attorney General Pam Bondi to run parallel mortgage fraud probes into New York Attorney General and her fellow Trump-deranged Democrat California Senator Adam Schiff. And also, I found a video also from the New York Post that shows them actually visiting Tish James's property in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn brownstones. And one of the neighbors comes out of their house and they're absolutely upset. They're enraged. I don't know if this was like the neighborhood watch or who it was, but she was not happy to see the special prosecutors investigating Tish James on her block. We'll get into that as soon as we finish this article. Then it continues on saying that grand juries in Virginia and Maryland are currently weighing criminal indictments for James and Schiff, respectively, over allegations that they falsified property records to secure favorable loan terms. It says James's Brooklyn property at 296 Lafayette Avenue is classified as a 5-unit dwelling, but James is alleged to have misrepresented the building on mortgage applications, building permits, and filings for government assistance. Yes, government assistance as having only 4 units. Okay, so James is getting government assistance as well. Then continues on saying the alleged misclassification allowed her to qualify for loans with better interest rates, lower down payments through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which are only available for properties with 4 or fewer residential units. It says at the time of Special Prosecutor Ed Martin was inspecting the property on Friday afternoon, there was 1 doorbell visible at the main entrance and an additional 4 doorbells at the side entrance with weathered labels signifying 1 floor, 2 floor, 3A, and 3B. So we can see there is 5 doorbells. So why would a 4-unit residential have 5 doorbells? It just doesn't make sense. This is clear. This is an open and shut case on part of Tish James. Then continues on saying a neighbor confronted Martin and an unidentified colleague as they were standing out front of the property and asked what they were doing. What are you up to? And this is the lady that I told you guys about. We're going to check her out.
It's not that. Is there a back alley? I'm just sure there's like the Pratt building. Is there
you want me to tell you how to access my...
No, I'm just asking. I'm asking. Yeah, I'm interested. Because usually the houses like this.
Tell me why you're here.
We're interested in the houses.
You're not interested in the houses. We know who lives here.
Is this like Second Empire?
It's just a track house. That's what all of these things are.
I know, but when was it built, do you think?
They're built before 1899.
Oh, so, okay.
Why are you being so disingenuous about what you're here for? You're not here about the houses. You're here because of who lives here. It's my neighborhood. It's my block. I have a right to know what you guys look like. You're
happy to
official capacity.
I'm just happy to be on a block looking at a house.
That's not true. Why won't you be
No, he is happy.
Well, why won't you be honest with me about what you're doing? You are acting suspicious on my block in front of my neighbor's home, and you're not telling me what you're doing. That's not true.
Interesting houses. It's an important house. So, thank you.
It's not. It's just like every other track house on this block that was built by developers.
Right, they're beautiful. Beautiful neighborhood.
Thank you.
I mean, do you guys call this a stoop?
So, what do you think?
I don't know. It's a stoop. We didn't have stoops where I was growing up. Is this a stoop?
I want to know what you're doing here.
Just checking it out.
You're not.
Very good.
Guys, so that was first-hand footage on the scene right in front of Tish James's Brooklyn property. We see the neighbor, I'm not sure if that was Neighborhood Watch, coming out to confront special prosecutor, I should say, Ed Martin in the midst of his investigation into Tish James. We can see things are getting serious very quick. I mean, they're not kidding around with Tish James. Can't forget Sam E. Ansar. He's the lead man, independent fraud investigator who kicked this whole thing off and brought all this evidence gift wrapped up for the DOJ to prosecute Tish James. I actually found a clip of him explaining how this is going to be a complete open and shut case for the DOJ. Tish James will be prosecuted and charged with no problem at all.
What do you think about the fact that she is now being investigated for the very crime she prosecuted President Trump for?
Well, I'm a Democrat. I really don't care about Trump. But the point being is that, yes, there is karma there. But I ignore the karma. My job, and it's not a job, it's really a hobby at this point because I'm quasi 99% retired. My hobby right now is to ferret out crime, and that's what I'm doing.
So what do you think about the grand jury? What will you think, they'll find? Do you think that they will actually, something will come of it?
I've laid out the case in my blog and in social media. I pointed to every single relevant document. Every single serious person that's looked at the evidence says it's damning to her. It's an open and shut case. The only thing that may happen at this point, which I predict, is that more people, collusion. More people like mortgage brokers, title companies, closing lawyers. There might be more people brought into this net.
What do you say that she says that you have a vendetta and that the Trump administration is simply weaponizing the Justice Department to go after her, and that you're just basically a tool in it? You're a useful idiot, almost, she's saying.
How do you weaponize a phony signature? She put a pencil on, she put a signature on paper. I didn't put it there. Okay, I am just the forensic accountant. I've been doing this for 30 years after the Crazy Eddie fraud. I've been teaching. This is what I do. I used to do it for a living. Now I do it as a hobby because I'm quasi-retired.
How do you feel that it's gotten to this point now?
Validation.
I mean, because think about it. You were just at home kind of looking stuff up, figuring things out, and now here we are. Now it's national headlines. We have the Department of Justice investigating, a grand jury being impaneled, and it all because of you.
Yes, and not only that, we're going to go further. In the coming months, I am going to develop a case against the machine that produces the Letitia Jameses of society and the Zohran Mamdanis of society and other corrupt politicians, irrespective of party. I'm going to go after all the nonprofits. It's called grassroots washing. Okay?
Are you afraid? I mean, they went after President Trump. They tried to put him behind bars for the rest of his life. Are you worried?
No, I don't care.
Yo, there we have it, guys. Oh my goodness. Looks like a storm is a brewing for that corrupt New York Attorney General Tish James. We're now seeing special investigators descending upon her Brooklyn brownstone property in regards to her mortgage fraud allegations. All I gotta say is no one is above the law, not even that corrupt New York Attorney General Tish James. I mean, even if she thinks she's above the law, she's not getting away with this one simply by saying that she's the victim of this case and she's being bullied by the Trump administration. We just seen that lead man, Sammy Antar, coming out saying, surprisingly, that he is a Democrat and he's not for Trump. So he can't be doing this as a favor for President Donald Trump. He's doing this solely for, I guess his hobby now. He's a retired independent fraud investigator. So looks like he's just doing this solely for, justice. He wants to see some justice served in that case. And I know a lot of folks out there do as well, especially President Donald Trump. I mean, the way that she came after him with a true political witch hunt, it was just sad. It was disheartening to see that. Lost a lot of faith within the justice system. The way they just came after Trump. She brought this hand baloney case. There was no victims in the case whatsoever. We can't forget about that. The over $400 million judgment that was handed down. None of it made sense from start to finish, but yet Tish James is actually committing acts of mortgage fraud behind the scenes while trying to come after Trump for a bogus case. I can't wait to see where this one, goes to. We're going to continue to cover every update right here with your boy RetroStef. But guys, definitely hop in that comment section. Comments are open. I'm excited to hear what you guys are thinking on this one. Also, make sure you guys please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy more content like this, catch you guys on the next one week.